The boot. So this past week I had the chance and the glory and the blessing to participate in the closed beta for Street Fighter 6. The game actually works well even in the beta, and I'd say it's probably the best Street Fighter made yet. And I know that's controversial to say, but I stand on it. And this is coming from the perspective of a person who's played Street Fighter since Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo, but I've never played Street Fighter competitively, meaning online. And there's a good reason for that, but I'd consider playing this online any day. So this is me giving my opinions and a few facts on Street Fighter 6. Now, the thing about SF6 is that there's an all-new roster, new art style, and new presentation all around. And from what I can tell, there's completely overhauled netcode for rollback. So it should be a more seamless online experience. And from my experience, I've played some matches and lobbies where the opponent and I connected at 100 plus ping, 100 plus millisecond of ping latency, and still it was smooth as butter. I didn't notice anything being dropped. All of my inputs were there and accounted for. It was insane. I can't tell you what's bad about it. I can only tell you how good it was. The first thing I did when I turned it on was not only create my creator character, which I chose to roll with a tall warrior-like dark-skinned female character with dreadlocks down to her shoulder, and I really enjoy what I came out with. I gave her a tribal sleeve and a few more tattoos on her right hand, and it all came out pretty perfect. I actually like the character creator and it works pretty well. You'll actually get some fun out of it, believe me. And I've seen some characters that was oof. Damn, I whipped the Peaky Blinders, bro. I'm so sorry, bro. Isn't that just a sticky with it? But anyways, here's the important part. So me as a Street Fighter player, I've always favored the Shotos. And this is what kept me from playing games competitive. Because of course in history, before online was a thing, in the 90s, I was only playing characters like Ryu or Ken because they were the most familiar and easy to pick up. They made sense and I didn't have to try too hard to be competent. And I like that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people like that. But then you'll have others who are experienced and they'll let you know that Shotos are actually incredibly powerful in almost every meta that they've been built. And for those that don't know, Shotos are basically a type of fighting game character. Any character that plays like Ryu or a clone of Ryu is considered a Shoto character. For example, Ken, though he is very similar but only slightly different from Ryu, and as time has gone by, he's become way more of his own character, but fundamentally he's still a clone of Ryu, and he's considered a Shoto character. While if you look at other fighting games, let's say Killer Instinct, Jago has always been a Shoto character and he's a Ryu clone. So if you were to take that concept, here we go. Do they shoot fireballs? Yes. Do they have some type of kick move that closes gaps and have them move from one side of the screen to another? Yes. Are they very bare bones and not too big on tricks? And they have an upward uppercut that's used to counter move? Yes. Well, then those are Shotos. And it makes sense that they become the bread and butter of fighting games, because from that character design, a lot of great games have been made. But I don't mean to confuse you right now. Just know that he is the blueprint. Ryu is the blueprint, and it's been the blueprint for all fighting games since. So the thing I enjoyed most though, I jumped in with Ken, and here's the funny part that was so good about Street Fighter 6. Ken is not the same Ken from Street Fighter 2, Third Strike, or 4 for that matter. He's completely different, and I haven't played Ken in 5 that much. One thing I noticed is that Ken is completely different. He is his own character more than ever before. Of course, he still has his Dragon Punch, his Fireball, and his Spin Kick, the Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku for those who are curious of the name. And yeah, it's like all of those moves are still there, but there's more to him in this Street Fighter than ever before. He now has a new kick move that can be used to reposition the player, get a floor bounce, and you can follow up with more combos or an extra shoryu. He has so much more in his kit now, but it's not even that much. It's just enough to set him apart from who Ryu is. And to go even further, Ryu has changed as well. I can't exactly inform you on how his entire kit has changed, but he is different. I haven't played with him enough during the beta. I spent most of my time on the character that I'm going to spend most of my time talking about in this video, which is Jamie. Jamie is amazing. He is a drunken fist martial artist who also breakdances. And he's another one of the characters that reinforces the current theme of this Street Fighter, which goes back to like the New York styled 4 elements of hip hop. And for those who don't know, the 4 elements would be DJing, MCing, breakdancing, and beatboxing. This style of breakdancing, he handles it perfectly. While you'll see Kimberly, she walks around with a Walkman and fights with it on her head, and that music motivates her, it gives her buffs and whatnot. So it's crazy. It's kind of insane. What you want to really pay attention to about Jamie's character though is that he's a trickster, you know, which fits a drunken fist style. I don't exactly know his fighting style per se, but I can tell you that his character design mirrors his entire fighting style perfect. His feet and hands are the most prominent parts of his body because he does crazy movements that are hard to predict unless you see him fight so much that you can recognize his animations. So this is a benefit of the drunken fist because he's hard to predict if you can play him correctly. Now, one of the things about him, he has this long braid of hair and a drinking mechanic. And it wouldn't be the drunken fist without a drinking mechanic. Now, of course, I'm not an expert on all fighting games, but I'm pretty sure anybody who's familiar with other fighting games know that there are other drunken fist masters in other games, and they have a similar mechanic. And the way this one works is, if you get Jamie to take 4 sips from his bottle of sake, he will get completely drunk, his skin will turn red, and he'll get extra moves in his moveset. While there are other bonuses as you work your way to that. So say you get an extra move if you drink once, you get another extra move or 2 if you drink twice, and then once you hit 3 you get a couple extra moves, and once you hit 4 you get more moves. You can follow up on other moves that you unlock. You can get an aerial dive kick, you get all types of different things, and it's amazing. Like you can't even get mad at this. This is something that I never thought would be possible with a new character from Street Fighter, because I thought they created all of the archetypes that they could, but it seems that there's still some creativity left, so, and I like to see that. Now, the thing about Jamie that I love most is that you get to not only throw your opponent off, the moment you have to be able to see the moments between the exchanges, the blocks, and the trades and the combos. You have to take those moments of reprieve and take a sip from your bottle. Like, you have to, because it only takes a quick moment. If you get a knockdown and finish a combo, and you press down and kick, and he'll take a sip, and it takes literally 1 full second and it's done. That's all you, well, it's really like half a second, I think. It's about maybe 3/4 of a second, I'm not sure, but anywho's, it's so fast. If you do it to just take 1 sip, it's faster. If you hold the button and you constantly drink, he can keep gaining his sips, but the problem with that is it would be slower. For example, if you take 1 sip, it's gonna be boom, bam, done, right? But if you hold it and keep drinking, it goes up like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's activated, and that's much longer. You'll get a better chance at recovery if you do not hold the button, basically. And it works very well. Now, of course, you can't pressure him out of it. People who use all types of fireballs or, you know, projectiles, whatever, or if you just keep the pressure on him, he's punishing you for giving him space, but he can also punish you if you get in close. You just got to know how to play him, and it's in that moment where he becomes a full-fledged Street Fighter character. So take Jamie, and you have to play mind games with your opponent. I can show you some of my footage here, and you'll see that I started to get the hang of really prioritizing making my opponent think that I'm not trying to go for the drink and then go for the drink. I want them to be so enamored with if I'm gonna hit them high or low or grab or drive impact or parry. I want them to be so occupied with that in their mind that the very next time I get a grab or a knockdown, I'm gonna take a sip. And then that motivates me to make sure that I switch it up enough and, you know, keep them guessing enough to the point where I can get another sip, get another free moment, get another sip. And that's the important part of it all. Now, one other thing that I want to really mention about what makes Jamie so strong is he has combo strings, small short combo strings that lead to him automatically taking a sip from this bottle. So say he can do a low spin, it's like a slippery kicks. If for anybody that's familiar with Eddie from Tekken, he can do a low 3-hit combo with his kicks and take a sip right after if you press the kick button once again. He can do an overhead somersault kick, axe kick, which can go into a combo and end with him taking another sip. He can do a high combo with his fist, and after finishing, he will finish with a kick and take another sip. And if you can vary this up, not only can you mix up your opponent, but you can also get your sips up to the point where you can get to 4 much faster and have access to his full move set in no time without having to make time to take a sip. This is key and very crucial to his character. And I feel like Jamie might be my main. When I get a hold of this game, I'm going to be playing a lot of Jamie. And I'm going to do everything I can to master him in classic controls. Because this right here is what drives me crazy. And the last thing I got to mention about his character design and everything else that's new about Street Fighter 6. I don't have to go too much in detail about the new features of the game, because you can find that anywhere else. There are the drive impacts and the 1-button parry. Everything else makes sense. But Jamie, however, the coolest thing that I love in his character design is the fact that he's aloof and carefree, happy. You know, he's upbeat, but also he doesn't take any of the fights serious at all. He's like a jokester, a trickster, a cunning lad, and I love it. I love it to death. And I want to see more of it and more of his lore. I think there's going to be some interesting things about Ken as well. Ken's really the only character I've really cared about the most in fighting games, and then there was Cody. But now I care about Jamie, and I want to see more of what they have to offer with this. Of course, I've been looking at a lot of I guess you could say practice matches and skirmishes between, you know, fellow fighting game community iconic names. And I've got to say, this might be the first time in a few years, not since Marvel vs. Capcom 3, since I've been this hyped for the next EVO event. And I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be great. So, yeah, let's go. I'm ready. Now, of course, shout out to Capcom and thank you for the beta test code. And I want to really say that I appreciate you for considering me and letting me take part, because this is blowing my mind and I haven't looked forward to a fighting game in a good while. So I wholeheartedly support this product. Like it's actually grand. And I hope you guys like it as well, because anybody who's new to Street Fighter will love this, and anybody who is a Street Fighter veteran would still enjoy this a lot. It's so different. It's just different enough that everybody has to learn something new and start from at least square one or square 5. Whereas it's still faithful to Street Fighter, and it's the game that you know and love. So it's not too different. And I'm willing to debate that with anybody. So there you have it. So if you enjoyed this content, go ahead and give it a like, because it'll help me a lot and I could really use it. And go ahead and subscribe, because we're getting close to 100 subs and I would like to go ahead and go over that edge and keep pushing, because we ain't stopping yet. And also leave a comment and tell me if you did get into the beta, or if you've been watching any of the footage, which character captures you the most, whether it's by design or characters that you would like to play. And if you have your opinions, share them with me. All in all, don't forget that it's love, peace, and hair grease. Hug your nephew and love your niece. And always remember the channel motto is the intentions are the most important. The actions ain't nothing but loud, and words don't mean a damn thing. Y'all take care of yourselves, and peace. No. Look at you. told me to beat her ass, so I'm gonna beat her ass, son. Let's go.